because we're getting into this phase of being a little bit more subtle, like the quiet luxury look. I think that wearing all your jewelry at once, it can look a little bit much sometimes, and particularly with like the trend of having all the earrings and, you know, stacking necklaces, stacking bracelets, even stacking rings. Like, you know, the Coco Crush has been pretty popular for the last few years, and I think there's going to be more of a trend towards like wearing one or two really killer pieces. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. If you love shopping and handbag videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. I know that not everybody follows trends, but sometimes I find when I watch YouTube or scroll my Instagram, I don't have TikTok luckily, so I'm not really influenced by TikTok trends, but subconsciously I'm sometimes influenced by things I see online. I wanted to talk about trends that have been really popular for the last few years that I think we'll look back on in 10 years and think that was so 2020's era. Now, I am guilty of definitely following a lot of these trends, and some of these trends I still love, but I do think that I'll look back on my pictures of myself like in 10 years and think, wow, that was really of that time. I know that body piercings and tattoos come in and out of fashion depending on the era, and I would even say that tattoos and piercings are always there, but certain tattoos and piercings I think are trending throughout different decades. So what I noticed is the last few years or so, there has been a really big trend towards getting multiple piercings on your ears and having like a dainty curated ear stack. And the reason why I think this is becoming more mainstream is because there are stores like Lovisa in Australia, which is more of like a affordable jewelry brand that has a lot of like cheaper costume jewelry, and they started doing the sterling silver jewelry and even some gold plated jewelry. They sell like earrings and packets, so you can kind of curate your ear and have like a butterfly and like a little heart and a diamante. And I don't think that this kind of like multiple ear piercings things was as trending like 10 years ago. I just think that this trend of getting so many piercings, we're gonna look back in like 10 years and think like, why did I put so many holes in my ear? I know I'm probably gonna feel this way. I think I'm gonna grow up and like probably take out a lot of my ear piercings and have like all these like tiny little holes in my ear. And I got this actually probably like 8 years ago before it became a little bit more popular. But I got a lot of piercings during a time where I was feeling a little bit rebellious. I was also considering getting some tattoos, and I remember in my early 20s, about 10 years ago, it was very trendy to get like thigh tattoos and I don't know, like even a mustache or an owl or something. I know, like 2010 era. So yeah, it can be a little bit risky to get trending tattoos and piercings because you might regret it in 10 years. Now, yeah, piercings, I feel like you can always let them heal, but the sad truth is I'm gonna have permanent holes in my ears, and yeah, it's because I kind of got sucked into that. I went through a bit of a rebellious phase, and you know, I embrace it, but I do sometimes think it looks a little bit too much. And I think that although the whole earring curation thing is still a trend, you'll see at like Louis Vuitton, they'll do like ear stack kind of situation, and like ear cuffs are becoming more popular as well. And yeah, this was a thing that wasn't as mainstream a few years ago. Going along the same lines of jewelry, I think over the past, like probably ever since like 2017, the whole like dainty jewelry, like gold dainty jewelry thing, I think is becoming a little bit overplayed. Now, I do still sometimes wear very fine gold chains, and to be honest, it's a bit of a classic look, but I've seen it a lot more in a mainstream sense in terms of like the way that people will stack these things. Like they'll have like a little like gold choker and then like another gold necklace with like a little green gem, and then like another gold necklace with like, I don't know, like a gold circle. I think the multiple necklaces with like gold jewelry thing is a very strong trend, and it's kind of like a Parisian chic look. And gold jewelry in general has been very popular for the last few years. I've seen it a lot more on YouTube, like people advertising you know, gold jewelry and again, like the earring stacks. And yeah, there's been less of a trend towards silver jewelry or like palladium jewelry, and I think that's kind of interesting. I think that will change because yeah, I know some people only wear gold jewelry or silver jewelry. I'm somebody who will wear both, but I did notice that it was more trending to have gold jewelry over the silver jewelry, and even with handbags, gold hardware was a lot more trending the last few years as opposed to silver. I actually like both gold and silver hardware. I actually, depending on the color of the bag, I think that gold can suit that color or silver, or it just depends on your look. You know, sometimes silver can look a little bit more casual or edgy, but in terms of jewelry, I actually think silver sometimes looks better with some diamonds, and it can look very like classy. Sometimes gold with diamonds can look a little bit like not as harmonious together, but yeah, it's all personal opinion. But what I've noticed is the dainty gold chain stack thing was very trending, and same along those lines of jewelry. I think that you know, brands like Cartier and Van Cleef are all classic brands, but the whole arm stack of the VCA with like the Cartier and the Tiffany lock and, you know, the Hermes whatever click clack just like wearing all your jewelry at once, I think is going to become less trending over the next few years, just because we're getting into this phase of being a little bit more subtle, like the quiet luxury look. And although jewelry, it's not always obviously branded, I think that wearing all your jewelry at once, it can look a little bit much sometimes, and particularly with like the trend of having all the earrings and, you know, stacking necklaces, stacking bracelets, even stacking rings. Like you know, the Coco Crush has been pretty popular for the last few years, and that's all about stacking multiple rings together. I think there's going to be more of a trend towards like wearing one or two really killer pieces. I actually, because I have so many earrings, I've stopped wearing my necklaces because sometimes I feel like it looks like I'm wearing a little bit much. I'll rather just wear like one statement necklace and then have my earrings, or have one dainty chain instead of wearing multiple necklaces at once. And, you know, it's all a matter of opinion. I think if I took out my earrings, I could get a bit more experimental with the necklaces, but I just don't like having too much jewelry on me at once. And same with like my rings. Like I used to wear a lot more rings, and it was more of a trend to wear like rings on every finger. But I do find that sometimes if you just wear one ring, like one statement ring, it actually showcases the ring a little bit more, and it doesn't get lost in all your other jewelry. And especially with fine jewelry, if you're wearing like all your fine jewelry at once, I think it really overshadows some of the pieces, and they can't really speak for themselves. And sometimes when you just separate one piece and wear it, it actually can be more effective on your outfit, and it doesn't like also overshadow you as a person. Like I do have a few like gold chain things on my arm. They're not designer, but I don't know if I would add anything to this side because, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to like cover my whole body in like jewels. Not, I mean, that sounds really fancy, but it just can look a little bit much sometimes. And, you know, even Coco Chanel herself said, before you leave the house, always take off one accessory. And, you know, because I think she really loved accessorizing. And I think the trend towards like just covering yourself in all these like fine jewelry pieces or like head to toe is gonna like kind of slow down a little bit. Definitely fine jewelry is still going to be relevant, but I think it's about choosing one or two really good pieces and then not having to wear all your jewelry all together, like rotating your pieces and wearing them individually. But anyway, that's my prediction. Also, I noticed in lockdown or in like around 2020, everyone was getting into the coordinated tracksuits. So Pangaea was a really trending brand at the time, and even Juicy Couture was having a little bit of a resurgence. So I think the matching sweatpants look, although you could say it's classic, I think it was at its peak during COVID and like lockdowns, and now I think we're kind of getting out of that. Like I don't find myself wearing a matching tracksuit. I never got into the Pangaea tracksuit, but I know a lot of people at my work were buying them, and they were very popular on social media as well. And I don't know if they did something controversial or something, yeah, everyone stopped buying from them, but yeah, I think that was a really strong trend. I think that Nike Dunks were a little bit of a trend because I've noticed that there's a lot of like, I don't know, a few years back I noticed there was a lot more like hype around these shoes and a lot more people flipping Nike Dunks, and I'm not a part of the sneakerhead community, but I think that it's definitely still a thing, but I think like collecting sneakers became a lot more mainstream, and I think that trend is kind of dissipated a little bit. There's not much of an interest in collecting Nike Dunks anymore. I do have one pair of Nikes, these Nikes, and I bought them a few years ago because I was kind of like sucked into that whole Nikes trend. I find I actually just wear the like Forrest Gump Nike Cortez the most, which is like the daggiest one, but I love those. These ones are a little bit too like cool for me, but I like it in the pastel. I used to have like a black and silver pair, but I sold it because it was really not my style. But yeah, Nike Dunk, I don't know, a lot of people will say that's classic, but I think it's a really strong trend that became a little bit more mainstream. Also the Max Mara, this is so random, but do you guys remember when the Max Mara teddy jacket was like the hottest jacket to get? Like that giant, poofy, fluffy $6,000 jacket? I'm not sure how much these cost now, but I definitely think that trend dissipated a little bit, wearing those like, it was particularly the Max Mara one. I know a lot of like H&M and Zara were kind of ripping it off as well. And I did kind of buy similar fluffy jackets, but I never bought the Max Mara one. But I haven't seen as many people talk about that Max Mara jacket as much as they used to, probably because it's just extremely warm and it's very extra. And I think it's not always as easy to throw on something like that because it looks very impressive and it looks a bit much. So I think that was a very strong trend for that jacket. I mean, it is in a way classic, but I think the popularity of it has like diminished a little bit. Let me know if I'm wrong too, guys, because I might be wrong. And also, I'm just blabbing on a lot now, but I definitely think that different hair accessories come in and out of fashion, and I'm guilty of following this too. So, like hair scrunchies, I think, you know, it's very 80s, but they definitely have had a little bit of a resurgence the last few years, and I'm getting into like wearing really extra hair scrunchies, which I don't think I would have done like 10 years ago. And even like designers like Celine and Louis Vuitton and Hermes, I think producing more of these hair accessories than usual. So yeah, I think hair scrunchies and like those clippy hair clips, they kind of made more of they kind of had a revival the last few years, but I think we'll look back and we'll think that looks a little bit dated. But I don't know, I'm not going to stop wearing my hair scrunchies anytime soon, so yeah. I mean, some of these trends I will still wear for a long time, but I do think they're going to look a little bit passé in like 10 years. This might be an unpopular opinion, but last year there was so many designer collaborations, you know, Gucci North Face, Balenciaga Gucci, Versace, Fendi, there was a lot, at Tiffany, Nike. Like, I think we're getting a little bit over these designer collaborations and they're kind of losing their magic a little bit. So I don't know, I don't think designer collaborations are going to end, but I think they're starting to lose their luster and we're getting a little bit, I don't know, uninspired, or it seems a little bit less like it seems a little bit less exciting when these designers do these collaborations because it seems a little bit overplayed at this point and it's just like obviously a cash grab. I did see on Instagram the other day someone was like at an outlet and they had a lot of the Balenciaga Gucci collection in there and I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, I think some of these collaborations create also a sense of false hype and you can get sucked into it a little bit because they really invest a lot into the marketing. And I think some people are starting to wake up to that false hype as well. And at the end of the day, a lot of us are just trying to combat these trends and just find our own personal style. I'm the same, like, because to be honest, at the moment, everything is in fashion. Like, I cannot tell you what jean is in fashion at the moment because I feel like baggy jeans, low rise, high rise, cropped, like long jeans, they're all kind of like, I don't know, relevant skinny jeans. So yeah, you kind of at the end of the day just have to find what you like wearing, but there are some things that you can kind of get sucked into, I think, with social media, and you can look back and think, wow, did I really like that, or was I just a little bit too influenced there? So let me know, guys, what trends do you think are really cool now that are going to look a bit strange in like 10 years? And yeah, thanks for watching my blabby video today. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys on my next one. Bye!